So I was watching the movie I Am Legend the other day, and if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. Our lead character has been working the entire movie with no success to create a cure to the zombie disease that pretty much killed the entire planet. At the climax of the movie, the serum just happened to work at the exact moment when the Darkseekers are about to kill our lead character. What an unbelievable coincidence. It's almost like the main character was lazily written into a corner and was conveniently given a plot device to move the film forward without any real setup. I'm not saying this was a bad movie. I actually really enjoyed it. Will Smith does an excellent job carrying this movie, pretty much by himself. I personally wouldn't have made all the zombie CGI and would love to smack the guy that made that decision, but overall, it was entertaining, and most people I talked to liked it. But, was anyone happy with this ending? Did it feel like it was deserved, or did it feel like a massive, lucky timing coincidence that the serum worked at the exact second when it could be given to Anna at the end of the movie? Pixar storyboard artist Emma Coates was once quoted as saying, "Coincidences to get characters into trouble are great. Coincidences to get them out of it are cheating." I couldn't agree with Emma more. I think this movie ending isn't as strong as it could have been had it not depended entirely on a convenient coincidence. This leads me to a clever and completely necessary element of great filmmaking: setup and payoff. So let's take a look at another film that has a big ending that doesn't quite feel deserved, and one movie that sets up the ending payoff perfectly. This next example of poor setup really hurts me to discuss because I love the movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies of the 80s and in my top 3 favorite vampire movies of all time. 1987's The Lost Boys. At the end of this movie, the main vampire, Max, is about to seal the family's fate by biting the mother, Lucy, when completely out of nowhere, the grandfather crashes through the wall of the house, conveniently at the perfect moment, coincidentally killing Max and leaving the others unharmed. It did make for a cool climax, but it seems to completely come out of left field. The grandfather had no way of knowing that this stuff was going on in the house, and it seemed to be completely against his character's nature to pull off a Rambo-like stunt just so that the movie could have an ending. Now let's take a look at a movie that sets up the big ending wonderfully. 1975's Jaws. I know it's kind of cliche to use this movie as an example, but there's a reason that filmmakers use this as their benchmark, because it's done so well. There's a scene with the crew of the Orc that sets up the payoff at the end, and does it in a subtle way, also leaving room for character development. Hooper asks Chief Brody to get a barrel. While trying to awkwardly untie the lines, he loosens the rigging and a compressed air container falls. Hooper jumps up and gives Brody a warning about the tanks.
You screw around with these tanks and they're gonna blow up.
This scene works very well on 2 different levels. One, as character development. It shows that Brody is truly a fish out of water and has no idea how to survive in this situation, so far out of his normal element. It's a great way to reinforce Brody's character arc, since he uses these scenes to grow towards his final hero status by the end of the film. 2. It also sets up the fact that the rigging is now loose and the tanks are very fragile and can explode if not handled carefully. So at the end of the movie, it's more believable that the shark may have had the tank in his mouth, since the rigging was barely holding it, and it's more believable that Brody would know how to kill the shark using the tank, since he was warned so harshly by Hooper. The payoff was set up early, not in a clunky way, but leaving room for character development and fitting seamlessly into the rest of the scenes, making the ending feel a bit more believable and more well-earned. This is quality writing and filmmaking in my opinion. Now let's be bold and try to rewrite a bit of The Lost Boys using what we've learned from the movie Jaws. We can keep the same ending, with the grandfather driving through the house and killing our main antagonist, but let's add a setup to make the ending feel a bit more earned and less of a convenient coincidence. Max is trying to be the patriarch of a vampire family, so he would have probably wanted the current patriarch eliminated. We could have maybe had a scene before the grandfather left in which David's crew cuts the brake lines to Grandpa's car. This would fit with their normal, somewhat immature decisions and would be an attempt to remove him from the new vampire family. This way, when Grandpa returns, it makes sense that he would accidentally ram through the house, killing Max. It would also be a clever little nuance, knowing that Max's decision to eliminate the current patriarch is the very thing that leads to his failure in becoming the new patriarch, sealing his fate and ending the movie with a dramatic payoff that was reinforced by a simple setup. Now, there's still a lot of luck and coincidence, and this was just a simple example, but you can see that with a writer better than myself, you could probably make the ending a bit more satisfying and make a great movie even better.
One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires.